week before Charlie lost his life, he expressed some concerns about the finances at Turning Point USA. In fact, he wanted to put together an entire department, a little mini department, to address those concerns, and we have evidence of that.
We see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own
emails leaked. The world around Erika Kirk seemed to fracture overnight. The confident, poised woman who once commanded every room with effortless control vanished, replaced by a shadow of herself, silent, guarded, her usual fire dimmed. Those who watched her closely whispered that she understood the danger. If even a fraction of those emails became public, the flawless empire she had meticulously built could collapse in an instant. And just like that, the stakes escalated to a terrifying new height. Then the IRS stepped in. Whispers inside the organization suggested Erika was under investigation for allegedly siphoning nearly $15 million from TPUSA's coffers. Some insiders claimed she hadn't acted alone, that several of Charlie's closest allies had quietly aided her, their loyalty bending in unexpected ways. Questions erupted like wildfire. Was this a reckless mistake, a desperate gamble, or a calculated, long-concealed scheme? And at the center of it all, the impossible question: had Erika truly crossed the line?
Kirk needs millions of dollars and GoFundMe and all these fundraisers. I don't know. I mean, Charlie Kirk left her Turning Point. She's the CEO. He had life in...
One truth remained: Charlie was gone. Yet Erika, now at the helm as CEO, still controlled every thread of the organization's finances, and that only deepened the confusion outside. Just when the world believed the storm around Charlie's death was settling, a new surge hit, and this one had nothing to do with grief or loss. It was about money, influence, and someone powerful enough to make the IRS move. Everyone knew the unspoken rule: the IRS never acts without a signal from inside. And whispers among TPUSA staff suggested the person behind it might be far closer to Erika than anyone dared imagine. IT began with a small leak, a single email, then a second, then a third. Within hours, these scattered fragments stitched together a picture that sent ripples of unease through the inner circle. These weren't just irregular expenses, they were missing millions, gaps in the records that could no longer be ignored. Suddenly, TPUSA employees wondered, has Erika known all along? Behind her composed public facade, she smiled, spoke calmly, and faced cameras as if nothing was amiss. But inside, the air was electric with tension. Every whispered conversation, every cautious glance hinted at a secret far bigger than anyone had anticipated. Rumors spread like wildfire. The IRS had uncovered emails capable of tearing the organization apart from within. The deeper the whispers, the clearer it became: this investigation was no accident. It was precise, targeted, an arrow shot straight at the heart of the empire. And yet, since Charlie's death, the people closest to him had begun acting differently. Their trust fractured, their words measured, their eyes scanning the room as though anticipating a trap. Everyone hoped the storm wouldn't reach them, but no one expected it would be the IRS who shattered the silence first. For months, attention had been fixated on Charlie's departure and the Tyler Robinson controversy, leaving TPUSA's finances largely invisible to the public eye. But when the agents finally arrived, the entire headquarters froze. In that instant, every insider understood this was far more serious than anyone had imagined. Looking back, the warning signs had been there all along. The numbers never added up. The baffling decisions, the secret of closed-door meetings, everything pointed to a truth no one wanted to face. The signs had been there all along, hidden in quiet meetings, in the prolonged silence of those who should have spoken first. Everyone sensed it, even if no one admitted it aloud. The IRS doesn't just wake up one morning and decide to descend on a large organization. No, something triggers it from within, and for months, those warning lights had been flashing inside TPUSA. But no one wanted to stare at them. The truth was staring back at the staff in cold, glaring numbers. On paper, everything appeared flawless. But anyone who's ever studied finance knows the danger of too perfect numbers. And here, perfection was terrifying. TPUSA hadn't just grown, it had exploded. jumping from a budget of $4 million to nearly $40 million in a matter of years. The public might never notice, but the IRS always does. It was obvious to anyone watching. No organization grows that fast without someone pulling strings behind the curtain, and the story wasn't just in the numbers. TPUSA had long been wrapped in an invisible armor of powerful donors and influential conservative figures. For years, it ran smoothly, untouchable, a system so fortified that few dared question what lay inside. But after Charlie's departure, that armor began to crack. Funders withdrew quietly. Associates kept their distance. Insiders, once loyal, began to leak fragments of information, emails, internal documents, numbers that should never have left the building. Now Charlie was gone, and the quiet protective bubble shattered. The leaks revealed a chilling truth. During Charlie's 10 years at the helm, TPUSA allegedly raised nearly $400 million, enough to build an entire empire, but the records showed no trace of that. The discrepancies were staggering, impossible to explain away. And when emails surfaced hinting that Erika, along with a few trusted associates, might be connected to the missing funds, the organization froze. The IRS moved with precision. Those inside realized the storm was no longer theoretical. What had started as whispers became a relentless tempest, shaking every corner of TPUSA. Erika's carefully curated image, widow, steady leader, the inheritor of Charlie's legacy, shifted in a heartbeat. The questions were no longer about a few lost dollars. They threatened the foundation of the entire system. Now, every document, every ledger, every quiet transfer was a potential clue. The investigation wasn't casual, it was surgical, and the consequences would ripple through the organization in ways no one could predict. The emails weren't mistakes, nor simple errors. They hinted at years of deliberate, shadowy financial activity. And the shocking reality was just beginning to surface. IT wasn't just Erika's name that appeared in the leaked emails. The list included dozens of others, people who had once been considered Charlie's most loyal allies, standing beside him in every critical move, every high-stakes decision. Yet according to these emails, many of them had known about funds quietly moving behind the scenes, and still chose to remain silent. That's when the suspicion began to spiral uncontrollably. If those closest to Charlie had been in the know, the question became impossible to ignore. Did Charlie ever truly understand the full financial reality of the empire he built? Some insiders whispered comparisons to a story as old as power itself. When a leader exits, the loyalists begin jockeying for influence, reshuffling positions, and quietly installing a new face. And now, doubts began to creep into darker territory. Was Charlie's death truly an accident, or had the unthinkable happened? Some speculated it resembled a regicide, the elimination of a king to crown someone he would never have chosen. People who once advised him, once protected him, had they betrayed him? The inconsistencies piling up were too glaring to ignore. The whispers surged into a tidal wave pounding on TPUSA's doors. But this time, the knock wasn't from journalists or the public, it came from IRS agents, armed with lists, documents, and equipment, prepared to interrogate every anomaly. They didn't stop at receipts. They tore through every ledger, every unusual charge, every padded or split expense. Each line of numbers became a clue, each document a link in a tightening chain of investigation. Inside TPUSA, the atmosphere froze. Those who once carried themselves with confidence now fidgeted nervously. Laughter and casual chatter vanished. Everyone knew, once the IRS started digging, nothing would remain untouched. And the most chilling realization? This wasn't happenstance. Someone had flipped a switch behind the scenes, forcing the entire system into the light, whether the organization wanted it or not. IT was the moment of reckoning. Erika, some began to speculate, had believed she could manipulate the narrative, play the grieving widow, embrace Charlie's legacy, maintain a composed public facade, all to distract from the growing questions about money. Perhaps she thought time would blur the paper trail, that the public would fixate on her image rather than the numbers. But any nonprofit veteran knows the truth. You cannot hide millions of dollars, especially public funds. Eventually, the truth surfaces. What turned this financial scrutiny into a full-blown storm, however, lay beyond TPUSA's walls. If the caller lacked full information, how could Erika's version be accurate? The paradox alone was enough to unsettle the organization, and then came the moment that left insiders reeling. Footage of Mikey McCoy sprinting away from the scene as Charlie lay shot. Fear, cowardice, or guilt, it didn't matter, the act spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Roy McCoy, once implied to be Charlie's pastor and a figure of moral authority, was caught in lies about the incident, falsely claiming his son had been covered in blood. Every revelation compounded the storm, pushing TPUSA into a chaos that no one could have predicted.